Tonight on Business Live, Bank of Ghana closely monitors some financial institutions due to domestic debt restructuring as liquidity pressure mounts. We will tell you why.
Characterized by high inflation and rising interest rates to the banking sector. In particular, pressures on solvency and liquidity of banks have increased, and the bank is closely monitoring these developments.
Following Bola Tinubu's declaration as winner of Nigeria's presidential election, we will find out what he brings to the table in growing the largest economy in Africa and the sub-region as a whole. And those were your latest commodities update. I am Pious Kojo Backah to our very first story. The Bank of Ghana is closely monitoring banks following the domestic debt restructuring as liquidity pressure mounts. Well, this is to help reduce any pressure on their balance sheet and avert the possibility of insolvency. The head of Resolution Office, Elliot Amwaku, spoke on behalf of the governor at the induction ceremony of the Ghana Association of Restructuring and Insolvency Advisors. Here is more in this report.
Assessment by the Bank of Ghana indicates the emergence of signs of spillovers from the current macroeconomic conditions characterized by high inflation and rising interest rates. In particular, pressures of insolvency and liquidity have increased, and the bank is closely monitoring these developments. Addressing members of the Ghana Association of Restructuring and Insolvency Advisors, head of resolution at the bank, Elliot Amwaku, hinted that some relief measures have been lined up for the banks to moderate the potential impact of the domestic debt exchange program and ensure stability in the sector.
The bank's macro-prudential risk assessments of the banking sector indicated the emergence of signs of spillovers from the current macroeconomic conditions, characterized by high inflation and rising interest rates to the banking sector. In particular, pressures on solvency and liquidity of banks have increased, and the bank is closely monitoring these developments. Already, some regulatory relief measures have been lined up for banks to moderate the potential impact of the domestic debt exchange program and ensure stability in the sector. These trends require close monitoring to avert insolvency in some institutions.
Chief Executive of the Association, George Fosu, explained to Joy Business about the importance of the induction ceremony.
This ceremony is quite important in laying the foundation stone. The second important aspect of this ceremony is the publicity to allow businesses right across the country, across the nation, to know that there are specialized professionals who can help them and assist them, particularly around this time. It's absolutely important that entrepreneurs know that they're not alone, and that's why we are here.
The association is made up of professionals with an interest in restructuring and insolvency. In all, about 274 members were inducted.
Now, in a bid to regulate credit extension and close the gender financing gap, the Bank of Ghana has implemented a new online reporting and analytics supervisory tool. This online platform requires financial institutions regulated by the central bank to provide information on financial returns on a sex-disaggregated basis. Speaking at the Affirmative Action for Women in Africa Financial Series, Second Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Elsie Ado Awaji, disclosed that reports through this online tool helps in policy formulation surrounding gender-inclusive financing.
For the Bank of Ghana, in addition to providing the enabling environment to promote financial stability, we are fully committed to promoting inclusive finance and gender-inclusive finance more particularly as a catalyst to promoting inclusive macroeconomic growth. The Bank of Ghana has implemented a new online reporting and analytics supervisory tool by which all of our regulated financial institutions submit their prudential returns to us on a sex-disaggregated basis. This means that whether the banks or the savings and loans companies or the microfinance companies or rural and community banks or the leasing companies are reporting to us monthly in terms of what products they have designed and rolled out, and how much deposits they have raised, how much loans they have given. All of those reports every month would now tell us on a sex disaggregated basis how much of this have gone to women, and how much of this have gone to men? And even for businesses, how much of these have gone to women-owned businesses? We believe that this is key because data is often the missing piece in our discussions and in our policy formulation and implementation efforts. And it's important that we have the right kind of data to help to calibrate the policies, regulations, and the products and services that are needed to really make an impact in terms of gender-inclusive finance.
Now, a group of bilateral chambers of commerce is challenging government to address the current economic challenges and harassment of members by officials of the Ghana Revenue Authority. They believe the current economic challenges will erode the gains Ghana has made in becoming the leading and favorable destination for business and investment in Africa. Simon Maji is Executive Secretary of the American Chamber of Commerce in Ghana, and which of course basically is part of the group. Let's take a listen to him.
Our concern has been that we are really encouraging the GRA to really take a business, friendly approach to taxation. I mean, we concede and stand by the fact that revenue mobilization is essential to get the country out of these current economic challenges. And our members are largely in the formal sector that, they go about paying their taxes. And so the posturing, the perceived posturing and the perceived predictory nature of the GRA officials, it's really of big concern to them. Known that the GRA works with these companies for many years, and so they do understand their business models. A solid engagement on what we want is appropriate. We are also convinced that sometimes the media publications about the tax engagement, some of these companies are listed, if not handled well, may have significant impact on the operations here or on the operations in other parts of the world as well. So that's very important for us, and that's what we want them to be. We want it to be more partnership, want more of partnership and more of engagement in dealing with these issues than putting it out there and creating all the problems that come with it. We know that the Bank of Ghana is working, to really get the city stabilized, and we firmly support that. We think we all have a role to play in stabilizing the city. What we are, however, calling on the Bank of Ghana is to lay out the modalities for the cessation of providing forex for the import of certain critical goods into the country. We'll be happy to engage with the Bank of Ghana on that one, and we fully support those efforts as well.
Now let's touch on one of our headline stories. And following Bola Tinubu's declaration as winner of Nigeria's presidential election, we sought to find out what he brings to the table in growing the largest economy in Africa and the sub-region as a whole. Let's explore this aspect of the conversation from the business perspective, and we've been joined via Zoom by the president of the Nigeria Union of Traders Ghana, Chukwuemeka Levin Naji. For more, grateful Chukwuemeka, you could join us on Business Live. Now, how does the trading community in Ghana welcome this news?
Election. And we were expecting much from a man that we trusted. He's a business tycoon. So we hope that things will improve, not just in Nigeria, but in the sub-region, West Africa.
Great. So what impact could his government have on the huge trade relationship between Ghana and Nigeria?
Yes, he's called a Lagos boy or a city boy. And Accra to Lagos is not too far. So I believe from being a Lagosian, he may have a lot of interest in Ghana. And that alone will give advantage to Ghanaian business community, including we Nigerians living here. Logistics has been our problem. We expect it to improve. And, infrastructure like roads that connect the borderline, I'm sure that will be one of the things he will tackle immediately. And I believe it will enhance our, productivity and every other thing. So it's a welcome news for us.
Now, I want to find this from you. What will this election mean, or what impact will this have on ECOWAS, basically?
Yes, it had been a rough road for ECOWAS community for, let me say, in the last 2 years. And, Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu is a very strong personality. He had been in the system for a very long time, and if you can recall that he was a governor of Lagos State in I think 1999 to 2007. And having been that, he had been around. It was actually one of the instruments that brought the regime of His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari. And what that means is that nothing is actually new to him. He has all the experience to handle all issues, and we believe he's going to help, because Ghana happened to be a very great, we call ourselves brothers. So let me just be very, very short. And every Nigerian, even the leadership and all the citizens, uphold Ghana very high. And I'm sure he will not do differently. He is going to handle the issue that concern the sub-region very well.
Chukwuemeka, there's been this tussle between Ghana Union of Traders Association and that of its trading counterpart, the Nigerian Traders Union. Are we likely to see an amicable solution being reached now that we know that the newly elected president will be taking office?
Yes, your guess is just like mine, and I can tell you that a lot have done. His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari have done so much, because one of the areas he performed, over 90% have been the area of diaspora. Diaspora commissioner have done well, and they have not left us alone, we in Ghana here. We have sent a lot of business. In fact, there's a process of having a joint implementation task force between the government of Ghana and the government of Nigeria. And that impasse that you are talking about have been lowered now. The traders on their own hand have also tried to build a very great relationship. We understand the fear of the Ghana Traders Union. We're also trying to encourage our members to understand them as well. You know, everything is not negative, whether it affects you negatively or not. Sometimes it affects you negatively, but somebody else is positive for him. So you look at it from that angle and see how you can meet at the middle. That is what we have done now. And I think if you have listened to the news recently, you realize that things are coming down, and we're working hard to make sure that we totally eradicate that problem.
Grateful. Thank you very much. Chukwuemeka Naji is the president of the Nigerian Union of Traders here in Ghana, speaking to us on the back of that election there. Let's move on to some other stories. Patronize locally made apparels to boost the fashion industry. That's an appeal from entrepreneur and popular movie actor John Dumelo. He says the apparel production industry has the potential to grow and contribute to socio-economic development. He spoke to Joy Business at the official opening of Wilnob Fashion House here in Accra.
According to entrepreneur John Dumelo, who is brand ambassador of Wilnob Fashion House, the textile and clothing industry is becoming an increasingly important part of the economy of most African countries. He says Ghanaians should project made in Ghana apparels in order to attract foreign direct investments for the country.
10 years, a lot of people now wear a lot of, locally made stuff. I try as much as possible to wear locally made stuff, at least 80 or 90% of the time I'm, flaunting or I'm showing off our designs, our Ghanaian designs. And I'm happy about young businessmen who are coming up, who are, trying to promote made in Ghana stuff. Now, if you look here, you can find a lot of made in Ghana stuff, especially the kentes that are around. And it's good. If we have 10, 20, 30 of such men around, I think Ghana will become a better place.
He also called on government to turn its attention to revamp the local textiles industry to boost the fashion industry.
No country is an island. Every country is unique in whatever it is they produce. What we need to try and do is to revive our textiles industry, Akosombo Textiles, Japon and the other textile manufacturing factories that are around. I think it's about time we revive it and make the pricing a little bit competitive so that people will not now travel to Dubai or Asia to go and buy stuff, Turkey to go and buy materials. We can get everything here. So that now those Asians and other Africans will now come to Ghana, you know, for such things. But I think it's just a matter of sitting down and see whether it is something which is viable first and foremost, and see how best we can put our resources together to make that possible.
For his part, marketing executive of Own Up Fashion House, Jerry John Biase, said his outfit's entry into the fashion industry seeks to change the narrative of delays and disappointments on the part of designers in delivering to their customers.
We are just new in the system, but we are here to solve the majority of the problems that they have ever encountered with their other fashion houses. You know, some of these problems of delays, last-minute denials of your product and every other thing, we have done all our research into that, and we've come up with a strategy that would help our customers get their product even before the deadline. No matter how short the notice is, we try and deliver within this time. So Nob Fashion is here to stay and here to make a difference in the lives of Ghanaians.
The official opening of Own Up Fashion House featured some members of parliament, largely from constituencies in the Volta region. MP for Agotime, Charles Agbeve, graced the occasion as chairman of the ceremony.
Thanks so much for your company. I am Pious Kojo Backah. Let's connect same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.